Welcome back to the Good Talk, the show where we discuss what's hot, what's grot, and everything else in the wide world of Warhammer. I am joined today by the inimicable Shane Rucky. How you doing, Shane?
Hey, I'm doing good. After that game, that was a beating, but it was good, and it's nice, ready for BAO.
We are in amidst the what I've been calling the death throes of 9th edition, and the only thing that everyone wants to talk about is 10th edition.
Yeah.
So here we are once again. We're going to go over a couple of the new factions that were revealed. We're going to talk about Thousand Suns, which were revealed today. We're going to talk about Orks, the best faction that were revealed yesterday. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them on in. We can do a list review. We can chit chat anything. Ask Shane's favorite pizza. We are here until you no longer wish us to be. With that, let's take it away and take a look at some of these reveals. So, as we mentioned, first off, we're going to start with the Thousand Suns. Yep. This is the new qual of sorcerers, right?
Yep. So this is a super interesting army because they were about dominating the psychic phase. Well, 10th edition, there is no psychic phase, so no one really knew what kind of direction they were going to go in. So this is where we see their first army rule.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because it kind of makes sense. This is the one thing that they would keep. But the question is, how do they adapt it to the new kind of paradigm?
Which I think they did well.
I think it's interesting, yeah. So this is the long and short of all of this text is basically your characters will generate Cabal points, just like they do now. And once per battle round,
don't forget sergeants too.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think it doesn't look like the icons do that anymore.
It's
they
not
used to
the
do an extra
icon.
one.
Yeah.
So it's slightly different, but very, very close. And you can perform a ritual from a list. Now, this is not a psychic power. You don't have to roll or anything. These things just happen, and they emanate from a Thousand Suns Psyker. So that's all that text says.
It's super cool because the list, as I think that's the next slide.
Yeah, we can pull that up.
This was all kind of like the previous spells they have to have that they used to cast. That these were all different ones, and there's some pretty nasty ones.
Yeah.
They kind of chose all the best spells from their psychic tree, and then they made them a comeback.
Exactly. It's interesting because a lot of these things are not going away. They're just kind of getting redistributed, right?
Yep.
So a character might have one of the key spells, but there's so many spells in this original book that they're kind of some of them are becoming these. So we have, for example, Weaver of Fates, classic. This of course used to be the +1 invuln save, 2 Cabal points. Basically creates an aura of rerolling 1 failed save.
Yep.
So very different. I don't really want to say stronger or weaker because it's just different.
Yeah,
You know?
It's an 18 inches rather than it's just one unit is protected. Is now all of it. If the Terminators are going to have their 4-up invulns, you're going to have multiple squads of them. That's pretty solid, and it's only 2 Cabal points. Most sorcerers give. Ahriman gives 3 Cabal points.
Yeah, 3.
So it's safe to assume that maybe sorcerers only give 2.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have points to spend on this, and one free saving throw on a save, it changes the course of the game.
It's cool because it's not like a Helix Gauntlet. You wait for the big damage one to come in, the last cannon, and reroll it, which is nice. We've got Temporal Surge, which formerly was Warp Time. This is more Cabal points. Move again, no charging after it apparently, which is not the case currently in the book. So big limitation, but it is a longer range, 18 inches, whereas right now it's quite short.
Yeah, and it doesn't really hurt because now Thousand Suns, because psychic, you don't smite, it's a shooting attack.
Right.
The army plays more to a shooting advantage. So this allows you just to get into position or pull the way out and stuff. So it's I wasn't really oh man, they can't charge. It's not a huge downside for Thousand Suns.
No, it's totally fine. Next one, Echoes from the Warp. I actually forget what this one is. Do you have?
I got
pulled
this
up
one.
There? Yeah.
Yeah, my old eyes can't read the screen.
Yeah.
Use this ritual at the start of any phase once per, which is kind of cool, is that these rituals can be used whenever. It's not just at the command phase.
That's cool, yeah.
So it's when you use these, or when you need them. Once this phase, you can select a Psyker unit that's a target of a stratagem, and you can make it cost 0 CP.
Oh, wow, that's great actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen very much about how CP generation is done.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
but there's a lot of stuff to reduce it, and they've been always kind of just this trend of making less and less CP to make the actual commands more impactful. So being able to get this, to get a free one when you don't have any, or as a backup to trade points for it, it's not too bad. It's 6 Cabals, so that's going to be later we see aspiring sergeants are 1 point each. So it's if you have 3,000 Suns and Ahriman alive, that's a way of reducing it.
It's great. I think it's a good utility. It's just a good all-rounder, right?
Yeah.
This next one's very scary. Doombolt. Oh, sorry, Mel. Not the
Yeah.
next slide. The next on the chart.
Yeah.
Doombolt is basically a targeted smite, and it does a ton of mortal wounds. You can see it often is going to do 3 plus D3 mortal wounds.
Did you see what it does on a 6?
D6 plus D3 plus 6.
Yeah, it's D3 plus 6 mortal wounds.
I like how they kept the D3.
Yeah.
Plus 6.
You're like, okay, on average, I'm doing 8 mortal wounds to just dropping somebody.
That's awesome.
And there's kind of what we've seen is like there hasn't been a lot of mortal wound defense. There's not a lot of feel no pain like around that we've seen.
We'll see some of that in a second, though.
Yeah.
And last of all, Twist of Fate.
Oh,
very interesting. This was, of course, Death Hex. I shouldn't use multiple. Anyways, which used to be turn off invulnerable saves. What does this thing do now?
This one turns off armor saves. So that means if your unit doesn't have an invuln, you just get no save. The damage goes straight through. Think of how crazy this is in the terms of this edition, where there's a lot of lethal hits going around. That 6s are just auto wounds, which means they're just going to go like right through if you do that. It's almost like, I think this is going to actually be stronger than
Death Hex.
the previous one. The other one only affected things with invulns. You still usually got your armor save. It wasn't crazy, but it's a lot of points. But to just have it completely go through, you'll make certain units, especially vehicles, which are not known for having invulns, that you can cut through them super easy.
If you are a Chaos player, you're familiar with the pain that is failing a key power at a key moment, and these Cabal abilities are interesting because they remove that. Like, you can count on having X amount of Cabal points and doing this.
Yeah, you'll know if you're like, I have 9, and you can do it at any phase, so it really does it. So 9's kind of a lot up there. It's going to probably require a lot.
Yeah.
The preview sadly did not have Magnus, but it did have, what is the next slide?
Let's take a look.
I think it's...
Oh, nope.
Oh, it's their army rival. So we'll get to the cool guy that they did preview.
Yeah, absolutely. You all right, Mel?
Yes, I pulled off my mic. I don't know if I'm just the only one hearing
Hearing the buzzing?
noise.
Let us know if you guys are hearing a
How's
sound
audio? Do we
artifact.
sound good, chat?
Not like our voice, like, don't be personal. Obviously, anyways, sorry. Yeah, let us know if the sound sounds good. So here we have the detachment rule, Kindred Sorcery. This is a very powerful ability. Basically, each turn you're able to, or every command phase of yours, you're able to select an ability that all your psychic weapons have. And these abilities are as follows. Lethal hits, which is 6s to hit auto wound. Sustained hits, 1, which is 6s to hit, generate an additional hit. And the last one is devastating wounds, which is 6s to wound, goes straight to mortal wounds. Very, very interesting. I love this. It's super flexible. They're all good for different reasons. I love it. I think it's cool.
This is one of those attachment ones that's also kind of like one of those iceberg things that, like, right now on the surface, what we know is like, this looks pretty nice. That's like psychic attacks. There's not that, but we don't know. Like, I imagine that there might be some kind of ability, there might be some kind of character that turns attacks into psychic attacks, or
start combo
what
out.
Actually it is. So it's like, we don't even know like the full length of these, but they're all good abilities.
Right. Well, think about it like this. Like, with the switch from psychic spells in the psychic phase, doing only mortal wounds, to this is this cool thing that's happening where, like, before it would have been basically incomprehensible that you have a whole detachment of wide ability that affects all your psychic powers, and they can be affected differently every turn. That's only really made possible by the fact that these are shooting profiles now. So it's super cool, right? Because basically, I'm assuming that every psychic unit is going to have the psychic shooting profile, kind of like we've seen, and you'll be able to modify those as you go along, which is that's super fun.
Even Ahriman's staff is a psychic weapon.
Oh, I like it.
So it's like, there's gonna be weird comments that are gonna be like, oh, this pairs nicely. And the big thing about this is other people have to like kind of choose which one they're gonna go with. Like I'm thinking about the Tyranids.
Right.
This one's every command phase. You change that. The Tyranid one might be that, or is it for the whole game?
I don't recall, but this is very flexible. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just flexibility, and they have a lot of psychic attacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, from what we've seen, it's like, it's gonna be baked in.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, let's take a look. Here you are. Now you can talk about
Okay,
Ahriman.
we have
I know you wanted to.
Little Daddy Ahriman, because they didn't preview Big Daddy. Was really excited to see Magnus.
Well, look,
but
the Orks got Stompa, so you know how
Yeah.
it goes with the preview game. So when you attach Ahriman to a unit, a few interesting things. As you mentioned, he's got generates 3 ball points, but he gives the unit +1 to wound, which
yep,
is very powerful right now. If it's as powerful in the future, that'll be great. If anything, it's more powerful because of the toughness,
yeah.
stratification. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, and also to think about it is just like, what are Thousand Suns good at? A lot of high-end, low-strength things. This takes care of their low strength. So it's like all those like flaming bolter shots. It's now our +1 to wound.
Right.
It's
That's a big question I've had for Thousand Suns in this upcoming edition, because right now they already kind of struggle to kill big things, right?
Yeah.
You have the one thing you can put, you can death hex it, you can debuff it, you can throw your Terminator block into it, and your Terminators, one unit can get Veterans Long War for +1 to wound.
Yeah.
But that's like all you have.
Yeah.
So the question is, like, going into this new edition where it looks like there's more big tough things, how do they deal with that?
Yep.
And it's things like this. It's things like the auto wounding army-wide that you can get, which is interesting because I want them to have some tool to deal with the tanks that we're going to be seeing. You know, you can see he's got his shooting psychic profile. He's got his psychic staff as well.
Yeah.
He looks genuinely great.
And what's pretty crazy is his other ability on there is you can, once per battle, choose one of the rituals and make it cost 0.
Oh.
So you could make the 9-point death hex just automatically go off and then just delete something off the board.
That's cool.
He is a really nice force multiplier. He's super solid. If this is what he does, I'm very excited to see what Magnus does.
Yeah.
He has a nice shooting profile and a good melee one.
Yeah. This is cool. I'm loving it.
Yeah, he's a good leader. You're exactly what he expected. Like, this is Sorcerer Supreme.
Exactly. So here's a character. Let's take a look at a battle lion unit.
Yeah. So the bread and butter of the army is...
bringing the butter jokes back. I like it.
Yeah, our Rubric Marines.
Well,
Are you sitting on your cable by any chance?
No?
There's still a slight feedback that I'm trying to figure out.
strange. Keep it away from your phone.
Is it still there?
I mean, it could also be a ghost.
Try balancing your arms like this. It helps.
At some point I thought I heard it when my mic was off and the headphones.
I saw that. You pulled the batteries out.
I pulled the batteries out. Either I'm losing it or maybe that fixed it.
Did chat notice anything?
Only Dylan. Dylan and I are the only ones
Ah.
that have heard a feedback, and so we may be haunted by the same ghost. My apologies, Jen.
Fair enough.
Oh, no. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Was it your phone machine?
Maybe.
Terrible. These kids and their phones, you know.
Yep.
Well, let's take a look. Rubric Marines, still tough. Their invuln save looks to be baked in rather than detachment wide ability, which just makes sense. You know, things that just make sense about 10th edition. Write that down. Short's idea. What else do we think? Oh yeah, we see this on a lot of the troops, right? They get some sort of reroll, and that reroll gets better against things on objectives or a certain type of unit. For them, it's rerolling to wound, I believe, right?
Yeah, they get full reroll to wound if they're on an objective shooting.
It's pretty awesome.
So
Is it them on an objective or against someone
it's
on an
them
objective?
on an objective.
That's even better because you can control that.
And naturally, they're rerolling ones,
Right.
which pairs really nice with Ahriman because he gets the +1 to wound.
Oh, that's so good.
So it's like Ahriman in a full stack of them, or with flamers, full reroll flamers, which are one of the few things that actually kept their really high rend.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, wait, their rend actually went. Their rend went down, but
Everything
it
went
still
down by
has rend.
1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, yeah, that's a deal.
And then they also have their
Flanking.
icon has changed that on 6s now it adds 1 extra AP to whatever they're shooting. So rubrics they lost all his dust.
That's
They did lose that, but like in addition where everyone's getting kind of toned down, they stay pretty real strong. Like
all his dust is a weird, potentially problematic rule, and I understand them getting rid of it for other things, you know, and I think it's fine, honestly.
yeah, these guys seem pretty dang solid for a troop choice. That, I mean, bolters, like a lot of bolter shots do drop people.
like
and if you can get full rerolls on it, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a nice, solid troop choice. Like, I like these guys over like what we've seen of intercessors or something.
Oh yeah, I think any battle line troop that retains AP should be happy.
Yep.
Like that means you're going to be killy in this edition.
Yep,
So,
that's a big deal.
yeah. Excellent. Well, let's see what we have next.
Oh yeah.
Warp Vortex Beast. So we won't go into too much detail, but they did show the Warp Vortex Beast, and it retains its strange profiles. They're super fun. It looks like you do get to pick them. You can do. They're honestly all good. The blast is a good amount of shots at. It's just good all around. The single beam is hilarious because that's devastating wounds.
That's devastating wounds. So that's 6 plus D6 mortal wounds on a 6 to wound.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Oh my god, you're just gonna melt somebody.
Right? And then the torrent is cute. It's, like a heavy flamer or two.
It's flamer, ignores cover, like,
Yeah,
it's everything you could want. It's strength 6.
it's cute.
It gives it options, variable things, and
Yeah,
probably will have a nasty melee profile because
I hope so.
it has big mutilith claws and a
Yes.
tentacle mouth. So
I hope the thing is great,
yeah,
honestly.
it's one of the coolest, most like when you actually see someone that somehow has it. It's always been one of those things where it's like they've never been quite good and they always try to do weird things with it.
Yeah.
But it's so impressive that you're just like, you're rooting for it. You want it to show up on the table.
Exactly. There's another cool ability, which is on the next slide. And this has to do with how it works with the rituals. Essentially, if you do a ritual nearby, it's going to extend the range of the ritual. It's actually going to double. I actually thought it was only 6 inches, but it's double the range of the ritual.
So that's for most of them, that's 32 inches.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's just your rituals can hit anything.
You're shooting that doom bolt across or giving it army wide, basically, a reroll a single save. It's cool. It's fun. A lot of it's going to come down to the points and the durability of this unit, but it is a cool buff that it has that's very like lore relevant.
So it looks like a fun painting project too.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
any excuse to put that on a table is fun.
So cool.
I used to have a 1,000 Sun army.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I can't do gold trim. It's gonna take forever.
It's horrible. So you sold it to our buddy who did a ghost theme.
Yep.
And had them done in like one night.
And then sold them again.
Yeah, you saw them later on eBay.
Yeah, I
Right?
saw them on eBay. I'm like, oh, maybe I should buy them back.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
For use. I don't know if we have something else for 1,000 Suns. Let's take a look at the next one.
They do. They do have the one preview of their stratagem.
This is super cute. I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that it's not going to come up very often.
Yeah.
It essentially gives you defense against other psychic attacks.
Yep.
You get a fort, feel no pain against psychics, and it turns into hazardous. And remember, with hazardous is like, it's essentially turns into plasma, but you roll once for the guy that takes it. They take like 3 more. Do they actually? Never mind. I don't remember what they actually do.
I think it just does.
I just know it's on
more-
plasma guns. So I was like, I'm like, oh yeah, what's this plasma that kills the
Yeah.
guy? So if you
Yeah.
can like make it kill somebody.
It's the overheat, right? So you
Yeah.
make their weapons overheat, and you get a 4 feel no pain against it. I like this because it is a strat. Because it is situational. I would be nervous about this being on a unit all the time. It's just like, I'm paying the premium, and I'm not even going to use it half the time. So yes, it's going to take up one of your stratagem slots, and those feel very limited. But I think it's cool. I think we're going to see a lot of psychic shooting in the game. So it's awesome in terms of psychic against them. I like that additional little.
It'll be cute
aspect.
if it like. There'll be the one time when it works and it'll ruin your opponent's day and you'll feel great about it.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest stratagem I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But
It's cute.
yeah. Is it
so
orc
this is
time?
very interesting 1,000 Suns rule here.
Yeah.
Here we are. Let's talk about the orcs. Let's get some WAs in chat. Let's talk about them. So this is a big question that orc players have had as soon as 10th edition was announced, right? Is like, well, what is WA going to look like? Because overall, the current state of WA is responsible for orcs being as competitive as they are. Before they got the current WA, they were just very, very fragile. So here we have it. It's very similar. Big difference is it looks like you only get 1 turn of WA. That's actually the only difference from what I can tell. You do get the 5+ invuln, you get +1 strength, +1 attack, and then advanced. You can advance and charge. Oh, there is a difference. I'll tell you what. Currently, it is core and character only. So vehicles cannot do it. And
I
this
didn't know
just
that.
says orcs units. Yeah, so kill rigs get around it because they're characters. But generally speaking, all your walkers, your vehicles, your trucks, your battle wagons,
Killicans.
Killicans, they could not do it. But now they can, I believe. Unless Don't at me if there's like an addendum that comes out. But from
Orc
weights
vehicles
in
are not Orc units. I don't know. That'd be weird.
Yeah,
It
right.
just sounds like it's supposed to be.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
So this is WoW. Let's see what else we have today for the Orcs. Get stuck in. I like this a lot. So this is their detachment rule. So keep in mind, we're getting 1 detachment on launch. And this is basically a translation of the Goths. So in melee, Orc units are going to have sustained hits. So exploding 6s on hit. I love it. It's great. Goths
Yeah,
are
it's
really
a
strong.
solid-
They're fun.
Exploding 6s, always good. No one's ever been like, man, I wish I didn't have these exploding 6s.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw so many dice out.
It's so sad. Lethal hits, I'm very bored by. I'm like, ugh, yawn.
Yeah, I'm like,
Exploding
yeah, I
sixes?
guess.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, exploding 6s on exploding 6s? Now you're talking.
Check out today's game for that.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. It's all small ones here. Sorry, Mel.
No worries.
Here we got the Beast Snagga boys.
Yeah. One of the first things that jumps out to me about
Yeah.
this unit is a lot of Orc players, and I know you were very fretting about it, was
Yeah.
you worked so hard, you toiled away in the like plastic mines for GW to get -1 on your choppas, and then we heard this next edition, we're going back. You're like, you
Right.
need that to cut through Space Marines.
Wow, 100%.
And they kept the 1 AP, which was pretty nice.
Yeah, very, very happy about keeping that on the mainline troops, which is awesome. So super exciting. So exploding 6s still. The AP is great. Another interesting thing, notably, there's no invuln on these Beast Snaggas. Instead, they have a 6-up Feel No Pain. So maybe that's what Beast Snaggas get instead of the extra invuln. If so, I mostly like it because it's going to. They also have an extra saves. They have a save of a 5+, so it's going to make you a bit tougher against small arms fire, right? Again, like you said, a lot of AP going down on small weapons.
When you're Ying, 5-up is actually pretty dang tough.
Yeah, I'm into it. So, and another big change, Orcs move faster. Orcs move 6. Sorry, Death Guard.
Did Orcs move 5 before?
Orcs only move 5 right now, except for Commandos because they're fast.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Learn something every day.
Yeah.
So we stole a movement from the Death Guard, and it's great. Here we are, Mr. Gazkol Mag Uruk Thraka. Now I will say, yes. This is the edition where everyone gets more toughness. Gaz lost a toughness.
Yeah.
Outrageous. What I would assume is it's got to be something to do with like normalizing some of the toughness in the army. So I'm curious if it's like similar to like Mega Knobs.
That makes sense.
He has leaders, so I guess he can join squads.
He's enjoyed a squad, and so it's like, what would he join? You
Yeah.
imagine.
So if
probably
you-
something similar to him.
Exactly. So if they meet him in the middle, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
So we'll see. So let's try not to panic about that. But he can join squads, which is great. And he has infantry keyword. So he can actually go through walls now.
I would trade 1 toughness for the infantry keyword.
100%,
That is
right?
so much more
Absolutely
useful.
love it.
It was.
You okay, Val? The sound effects are driving you nuts.
And chat's noticing them too. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Mic check.
Something's just creating a very high-pitched squeaking noise.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it
So.
could be.
Trying my best.
Hello, chickadee check.
It's
check.
just every once in a while, like something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if
hard
it's
to
me
track.
tapping my foot?
I'll kill you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Continue.
let us know. Infantry is a big deal. He gives the unit +1 to hit, +1 to wound. Great. I am sad to see the auras go away, but not unexpected in the new edition.
That
And-
affects him too, right?
It depends how it's worded.
It says his unit.
Then yeah,
So he's hitting pretty dang hard.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
His +1 to wound. He's strength 14, I think.
Yeah.
6 attacks, 4 damage.
So he's winning vehicles on 2s.
That's actually very spicy. I like that.
Okay.
What else is cool? Makari.
Makari is excited. He gets an. I'm excited about this. Where a lot of people are like, I'm like he gets a 2-up invuln for it till he fails his first one.
Yeah, it's a shadow field.
Yeah, he's got a shadow field in the form of Makari.
It's way better than the old Makari rules, which were just clunky. Like I know what they were trying to do, but this is so much cooler.
And it's like a banner that does something, right?
I think he's technically part of the other rule, which gives, speaking of lethal hits, gives lethal hits. Yawn, auto wounding on 6s to hit. It's probably good. It's just not fun. Whatever.
I think in Orks it's pretty good because
Yeah.
the one thing you know about Orks, it's going to be a bucket of dice.
That's true.
So a lot of auto wounding with -1 rend is pretty solid just
Yeah.
from, and it's an aura, which is he can be, which we haven't seen before. It's usually character conveys an ability to
yeah.
a squad, but he can be inside a squad, like nestled deep with his homies,
Yeah.
and still like shouting love to all his friends nearby.
I love it. I think it's great.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Gaz. He is slower though.
He's slower.
He moves 5.
Yeah, he's lying.
But
he can go through walls. That's what's more important.
That's true. That's true.
This was kind of the one because he was the introduction of the wound cap. No,
Right.
It was no Necrons get that, but people forget about Necrons. Yeah. He was the cool guy to do it.
Yeah. It's gone.
So it's just gone. We haven't seen it on anyone this edition. I personally don't like it. Like phase caps, when you get to the point where you're like, yeah, you just can't do anything. It's not fun when you're just staring at Gaz with like 1,000 las cannons, and you're just like, did 3 damage. That's you can keep going.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it'll be interesting. It's really hard to gauge right now, especially since we just know so little of like bearing a character in a unit, how durable that unit's going to be, how does it interact.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, it's not that we don't love the Stompa, but it's just like, here's a nonsense unit we're going to preview for you that nobody's ever going to use in a normal game. So 3d6 attacks is a lot of attacks. The d6 damage. We're still hitting on 5s apparently. So, okay.
I'm like, when they do in these previews, there's so many core units we want to know about because we're excited to play the game.
Right.
Like, I'm just one of those players that like old and grouchy of like, I don't like seeing super heavies in like a common game. You got to like talk with your opponent and be like, hey, let's bring out the big guns. And I know they want to be flashy. I know they want to be like, look, this has strength 26.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, you'll delete my guardsman. Like,
We can do the next slide as he makes that comment.
And this is more of it. It's like, cool, 10 damage on your giant 1/3 of your point army like model. Unless they're crazy and they're just like, Stompers are 200 points.
Yes. Let's go back to the old, the Forge World Stompa that was like 300 points.
Wasn't that like a...
It was a typo, but
it was like a typo.
they,
That
like,
didn't work
everyone
out.
played it. I did not play it, but I should have.
You did.
I should have. I played against you.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it to a
Oh, you
tournament.
totally did. That's the only reason I know about it. So this is cool. Adrian has like 4 Stompas, so this is like...
Could be the time.
He'll play it. It won't see it often, but like big units should be good.
I'm here for exploding 10 damage hits. But let's see what else we have.
I wonder if you can make it devastating anyway.
That'd be amazing. Next slide. Yes, Squiggle launches. I am actually very surprised they included this one because, we talk about units that might be put into they might be in timeout. They might be in jail for the sins of the past. This looks...
Isn't it better?
It's in some ways better. So yes and no. So they've consolidated the profiles, I think. Rather than being 2d6 and they have the small one, it's just 6 plus d6. So that's better.
Yeah.
BS5 is the same, but only if they have like a +1 to hit with a Grot Gunner, which I don't know that they do, frankly. Strength 5 is the same. AP1 is lower, 2 damage. Blast ignores cover, indirect fire. Okay, indirect fire, shoot out line of sight. Ignore cover, very important because they're going to be tougher from shooting out line of sight. It seems fine, but we need to see the rest of the profile, meaning like what's on the unit. Does it say like weapons this thing shoots do something crazy? I don't know.
Is the sustained hits, is that only in melee?
Yeah, I think it's just melee.
Okay. Because I'm like,
that'd be cool.
But I mean, this is hurting, what's it called? Like Marines, dropping them pretty handedly.
Yeah.
A lot of shots, that's going to be 7 plus D6 shots into a Marine squad.
Yeah.
Hitting on BS5, it's always kind of the orc thing.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, these things were a terror of the past. So I'm like, when I see them, I'm very,
yeah. You don't want these to be
get sucked
everywhere.
up. I'm like, oh man, what's going to happen? We're going to go back. That was one of the most unfun games I remember of just sitting down, orcs table you on turn 1, and you're like, all right.
Good talk.
Yeah. Adrian did that a lot.
It was great. It was the glory days. Let's take a look. Of course, speaking of Orcs and Never Beaten, Orcs and Never Beaten. So this is very interesting. This, of course, was formerly the strat to fight on death with a character, 2 CP. It is still fight on death, still 2 CP, but it looks to be any orc unit when they get targeted,
Oh,
which is awesome.
that's fantastic.
It's really, really cool. This is the best thing that we've seen thus far, honestly. It means you're going to be able to trade. We just played a game with Wolfen. Like, it's so important to be able to fight on
Being
death.
able to fight on death really changes how you have to view the situations because
Yeah.
you're like, what am I willing to lose, but needs to be killing enough to actually drop that?
Exactly.
And you know what's the crazy thing I think about that? It's like, if you go crazy, throw like something massive into a unit of whatever like Gazgil's with, and like he fights on death with everything on it, like
Oh, yeah.
so like it says the
Oh.
unit, then it's like, do characters fight on death with it?
Yeah, 100%. They're part
So
of
it's
the
like
unit.
you get normally it was just fight on death with a character. Now you get everyone else involved,
That's really spicy.
which is like that's pretty crazy.
Oh, my gosh. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna pay them back.
Orcs is never beaten.
Yeah. I always kind of wish that they would have like the in Borderlands. I don't know if you ever played it. It's like
yeah.
you get downed, and then like if you kill people, like you actually have a chance of
Get back
like
up.
getting back
That's how
up.
the orc should work.
That'd be like an orc one I could see.
Res character.
It's like, yeah, you can res your character if you kill like 3 models. Or if
Right.
you kill enough models equal to his wounds, you should just get back up.
I love it.
GW, let me know if you want to hire me as a rules writer. I got you.
Next slide. Here we go. So this is also a strat now. It's not like an army-wide ability, which it'll be sad to not reroll charges, but this is cool. +2 advance, +2 charge.
Which stacks really well when you're Ying.
Yes. +4 basically for
Yeah.
1 CP. Yes, please. Check, please.
Wasn't
cool.
this used to be a stratagem for vehicles?
No, that was ramming speed.
Okay.
Here we go was just the army-wide that's reroll.
Oh,
failed
they
charges.
lost that. Okay.
Which is, yeah, that's a little sad if that's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we didn't see that. Interesting.
Yeah, there was no built-in rule for
That
that.
sucks.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's so dumb. What the heck? What's up? What's up with that?
Just make the stratagem free. There we go.
Still worse.
Yeah. We all can't win, Adrian.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Life is about loss.
Next slide.
That's it.
We done did it. That's the Orcs and the Thousand Suns. If you're a fan of either or both, hopefully that was helpful. We are.
Yeah.
These are 2 armies we're very excited for. They were great
Thousand and
previews.
Sun. They look good.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Is this better if I hold this?
No.
Okay, so I just like.
I mean, I assume that also made a loud noise.
Sorry, chat. About the high pitched squealing.
Apparently this has been happening, and Lindsay was taking notes and was going to talk to Bridger. I'm just back.
I'd be afraid to talk to Bridger too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take some super chats.
That sounds great. Let's do that. Interesting.
Should I read them, or is your mic gonna be?
No, no, it's on all of us. It's happening on all of us.
Okay.
Thank you, Slim Hogan. Hey, team. A question for Adrian. After the reveal, I'm hyped to paint my T-Suns, and your color scheme for them looks awesome. How did you approach it? Was it just a Zenenthal-style technique? Cheers.
Appreciate it. Cheers. Yeah, basically was. I think. Did I do Zenithal? I might have actually done the nadir technique, which is the opposite, right? Just going from the bottom rather than the top. And I don't have a strong opinion about which way is going to be more important here, right? It's basically, are you doing the pinkish purple over the blue, or are you doing the blue over the pinkish purple? You might want to do some tests to see which way is which, but I think I actually did do the nadir because I wanted a bit more control about where the sort of like the transition kind of happened, and I didn't want it to always be strictly from that singular angle. But yeah, that's all it is. It's basically, it was using the Ahriman blue, I believe, for the blue, and then the pink was magenta pink from Vallejo, their non-airline. Yeah, you take it from there, and then you can do the trim afterwards in the golds. I was using Retributor armor because it's the best gold, obviously. Don't listen to what Mel says.
Disagree.
And then I forget if I washed them in Agrax or in a purple wash. It might have been purple.
It was purple.
Was it purple? Kind of tie it in with the rest of it. So yeah, pretty like simple steps, as long as you have the airbrush, which sounds like you do.
Except for you almost lost your mind on the trim.
The trim is horrible.
I hear Sharpie works really well. like gold Sharpie.
Yeah, I have heard that, but I wanted the Retributor armor is the problem.
Yeah.
It's very picky. But I have heard that because you can kind of like get in there.
Yeah.
You know. I recruited Mel for a bunch of them.
Yes.
They still have more, by the way.
Oh.
Unfortunately, she's doing her Space Wolves now. So.
Yeah, no, stay away.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ian Berg. Any list ideas for Templars rolling into 10th? I know it's uncertain currently. I run a Hellbreak, a Bike Chaplain, a Terminator, a Terminlord, a Lord Terminator?
Yeah, you got it.
2x5 Infiltrators, 12 Blade Guard Veterans, 5 Terminators, 2 Warsuits, 1 Kronos Tank, and a Land Raider Protoss. Correction to my previous list. I meant Emperor's Champion, not Terminator Lord. Currently playing against a Chaos friend while watching this, and it messed up my brain. Braining is hard.
Heresy.
It is.
That's fair enough. What do you think? Yeah.
It's really tough because we don't know much. We know about the Space Marine rules, which give us, the detachment gives us advance and charge, which is something Black Templar really like.
That'd be amazing.
Based on the patterns, what we've seen is that, like, this is speculation, so I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
I'm gonna at you.
But like, a lot of stratagems that were abilities got to transfer onto the units themselves. So the Sword Brethren had a sustained hit rule. So I'm hoping I really like Sword Brethren. They're just like slightly out of that price range right now of like, you could run them. They're not a bad choice. They're beautiful models. Well, so I'm hoping it's like, maybe they get that and they just need something else. So if they get their stratagem of sustained hits on them, I'd really be into that.
Yeah.
So far, really big fan of Land Raider. I think the Land Raider full of Terminators, which is like, we don't know what they're going to do yet, but God, I feel like I want to have Land Raiders with Black Templar. Like, that's the thing they did.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're going to be rewarded for that.
Definitely.
Grimaldus is like my favorite. So you have to run Grimaldus too.
Yeah.
You could be the worst character, but it's just about sending a message.
He's so cool. And he's great right now.
Yeah.
And,
I love his little homies. Like, it's just such an impressive model on the table.
It's so 40K.
Yeah.
It's just, I just got a piece of a church I'm just carrying around.
Also, in an edition where things seem to be less lethal, you can be reward, and blast is less punishing. Black Templar had the nice advantage that you can run massive squads of assault marine.
Ooh, yeah.
Of Crusader squads, which it's like they're kind of Predators kind of being toned down a bit. So maybe running the big blocks could be something cool.
I'm very curious.
There's so much we don't know if, like, even if they're going to get vows or be different.
Right.
So from Space Marines now, I think even running like Gilliman kind of seems like he's going to be the good all-arounder. So Black Templar with Gilliman.
Oh, you're on this thing again. Talking about the Gilliman. He's obsessed.
He's
obsessed. He's like,
my homie. I like him.
It's really tough to predict, but we can look at the patterns like you're saying right now.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's what they do with vows if they even exist.
Right.
Which there's nothing generating that, which kind of built the whole identity of being really tough for Black Templar, is that they're the toughest Marines around.
I'm so curious to see what they do with these bespoke units, because it's actually all new. It's easy to forget. Like the Black Templar range is brand new. And some were hits, some were misses.
Yeah.
More hits than misses, to be honest. Sword Brethren, definitely please, you have 12 Blade Guard Veteran. The Sword Brethren should have 2 damage weapons. They should be mastercrafted swords. So I understand if you take Blade Guard Veterans down to 1 damage, fine, whatever. But the Blade Guard, the Sword Brethren need to be the same. Because they're also like veteran Space Marines.
Like, they were almost there. They just needed like one more rule where just like ignoring the vow effect wasn't the most exciting.
I hope they just get rid of the negatives for the vows altogether.
Yeah.
Like,
it was not a fun rule to be like, what am I losing?
Come on, this is 2023.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Ian. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Ian. Thank you, Ethrain. I've just realized I accidentally have a shoulder pad on Infiltrators that match Adrian's chapter. I'm gonna leave it without a decal.
Yes.
What's the best way to kit bash armor over unarmored flesh? 7.
I saw this picture. Ethrain's been sending me images of them. I was like, that's a nice Vallejo blue-green shoulder pad you got there. I was like, we might have to print a little thing for it. Best way to kit bash armor over unarmored flesh.
Yeah. I think you need like a little bit of green stuff, like barely any. Like
Yeah.
the main thing with armor when it sits on people, it doesn't naturally just like stick to the skin. It's got to have like a little like distance off of it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's a hard, like with green stuffing, part of the trick is always like waiting long enough for it to start to cure, so it's not like totally flip-floppy everywhere.
Yeah.
Doubly so when you're doing this kind of hard modeling stuff, you know? So like wait for it to cure decently hard, get it in the shape, kind of sculpt it out with your tools, and you're gonna use kind of the flat of it to kind of flatten the top, sharpen the edges, and then really make sure it's secure because you're gonna want to actually lift, like go under and lift up those plates, like Shane's saying, so they're not totally attaching. And I think I would add one more thing on top of that, straps. You know, if you're doing like an armor plate, again, actually, I guess I'm not sure how it's attached, but I'm thinking of like
I'm thinking of shoulder pads on.
Yeah. Like if you have something, you might want to add like a strap, which a lot of the armor does have. That's going to make it feel more realistic. Other than that, like kit bashing is going to be tough. You know, you'd have to like.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's like especially it's like what part is unarmored. Like chest armor is a whole different ball game and way harder than putting something on like the shoulder or the arm.
I struggled with these guys. You know, I was chatting with you about it because it's like they don't have sleeves, so the helmet kind of felt weird at first.
Yeah.
But then once I got the shield on it, it felt better. It was like they're kind of rugged. Like it doesn't
More
really make sense.
gladiatorial.
Yeah, they're like gladiators. So that helped tie it in. But
Sea gladiators.
I was struggling getting with it. It's gladiators of the sea.
Yeah.
Fishermen gladiators.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ethrain.
Thanks so much, Ethrain.
You got to get tridents for your guys. They'd look really good.
I'm thinking about it actually.
People love the lizard.
Yes, that's our mascot.
Thank you, Templar Warden. So we have T-Sons, Death Guard, and World Eaters. Should we getting the Emperor's Children to round out the Pantheon? Thoughts? Would that mean Fulgrim is next?
I hope so. He's got to be next.
He has to. There's
100%.
They went this far. There's no way that we don't see that. Now we have to look at the time frame that it was like we got Death Guard at the beginning of 8th edition.
Yeah.
And we got World Eaters at the beginning of 10th edition. So probably wouldn't be till what? The end of 11th?
I know, right? Well, we also just got the Lion too. So it's like we've had 2 Primarchs in rapid succession. So they're probably going to have, unless they're accelerating, it's probably going to be a cooling period, right?
Yeah. I fully believe that we will see it in our lifetime. We might be old and gray, having to like, I'll be pushing Adrian in his wheelchair. We both have our licenses taken from us.
Shane, Fulgrim is looking mighty thick today.
Adrian, remember that game we played in 2023? I think you hit on 3s with your bolt guns. They should have been 4s.
You son of a gun, you're right.
Yeah.
Didn't they FAQ that?
Yeah.
No, that was 12th edition.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, they also, is interesting, they just, not just, but when they did the Chaos Demons article, they talked about allying Chaos Demons in to armies, and they were like, if you're 1,000 Suns, you can take Tzeentch Demons. If you're Death Guard, you can take Nurgle. If you're World Eaters, you can take Khorne. And if your army warlord for Chaos Space Marines is Lucius, you can take Slaanesh.
Yep.
So I'm just curious, frankly, how they're going to handle Emperor's Children today, given the fact that like they're probably only going to have 1 detachment. So what does that mean for the fate of Emperor's Children in the meantime?
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious. Concerned is a strong word, but I'm definitely curious.
It's always darkest before dawn, though. Even like World Eaters got like a terrible, like
The White Dwarf?
article,
So
and then they
bad.
came out and they were amazing. So
I bought that because I was like, we need to have it for the studio.
I bought one.
Yeah, never used it.
Yeah.
Not once. Thanks,
Thanks.
Templar Warden.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Trombach2? Trombach2?
No.
Trom?
Is this a fellow trombone player?
Yeah.
Trom 222?
Trombach 2.
I like that me and Shane both assumed the 2 was an A.
Yeah.
I like that.
Trombaka then.
Oh,
Trombaka.
Trombaka kind of makes sense.
I like it. How does Torrent work with lethal hits?
I think it straight up doesn't.
Correct.
I think there's not really making any adjustments. I just think you don't get, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so if you do that with your 1,000 Suns, then use Flamers, they're just not going to be benefiting from it. Just the same way that I believe if you have lethal hits and you have devastating wounds, lethal hits, it's just going to auto wound. It's not like old Votan where it's a 6. It'll just skip that and you won't do a mortal wound. So
I think
you
they
have to be
learned their
careful.
lesson from that. That
I
was
know.
a bad idea.
Right? Ugh. So something to keep an eye out for, honestly, right?
I like Votan. Everyone kind of has like the same reaction of like, they went insane with their like launch rules.
Yeah.
And so now theirs are like toned down. We're like, yeah, it's okay. Like everyone's like, no, we think this is fine. Unless you're like the crazy people that are like, nah, bring back Magna Rails.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Thank you so much, Trumbaka.
We've decided it's Trumbaka.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you, John17. How about Custodes?
There we go. Getting to the point. I like it. You're a Custodes player.
Yeah, I'm
What do you think?
big fan of Custodes, and it looks like they're finally kind of like fulfilling the feeling of what Custodes should be. Alaris Terminator's got a. My idea is, I'm like, what if I had an army of Space Marine captains? If I just field nothing but Space Marine captains in the field, and they got more attacks, like higher toughness. Their army-wide detachment rule of the 4 against like feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which
yeah.
is like, was kind of like their biggest chapter. The katas feel like Custodes, I think, are just from the very little I've seen, seem to be going to be a very strong faction out the gate.
Yeah, they seem very solid.
It
I
seems-
like the Katas a lot. They're really
Yeah.
cool.
It's a good. It gives you exactly what you need, and it's during the fight phase.
Right.
Trajan looks baller, just like hits hard, gives you the things to do, and his rules he just like you cannot be affected by his unit can't be affected by modifiers.
So big.
Which is like there's gonna be weird modifiers. You're gonna be like, nope, doesn't
Yeah.
affect them.
They're heroes. They're legends.
Yeah. They're good. If they're like land raiders, anything like we saw with the Space Marine land raider,
I
I'm
want to
like,
see gold land raiders.
I'm just like,
Come on.
does anyone have land raiders for sale? I could really
Right.
use a land raider. I need like 5 of them because I'm like, I think I want to put them in like every army.
Oh, yeah,
So I like
100%.
my Marines, my Death Guard, my World Eaters. Oh yeah, chat. After I played that one game with Adrian, with World Eaters, I literally went out like the next day and bought a whole World Eaters army.
He's
That's
the
my
worst.
10th army.
The worst.
I just had so much fun with it. And Custodes.
Yeah.
And if they give the Arkan Land Raider to Admech, why not?
That would be amazing. The
Yeah.
Arkan Land Raider. Yes. Ugh. Love it.
But Custodes look like a awesome army to get into if you're getting into the faction because it's low model count and they just look really good. And they kind of have all the holes that Custodes had before. Kind of seem covered.
Yeah,
That they have more attacks. They're still super lethal.
higher toughness.
The axes got 1 more damage. That there was.
Oh, really?
No, wait. Am I like wish listing?
No, I don't remember. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it was a while. I can only focus on 2 factions at a time.
Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it. Hopefully
Yeah.
that's helpful. We're excited for Custodes, as always.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Stephen. Adrian, thanks for your input. Came in 4th at the championship with my Kacaradrons.
Yes.
And won Best Painted Army.
Space Sharks. Amazing.
Did I do it? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
Yes,
For
it
Kiradons.
finally happened.
It's an army that just like the paint job. Whenever someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this as like my paint scheme," they never do a bad job, and it just looks super cool.
Yeah. Because you know the person like really cares about the aesthetics, you know? Stephen, obviously a purveyor of fine bespoke Space Marine chapters. I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
I wonder what he ran them as.
Right. I think we might have spoken about this earlier, but I can't recall.
I'm guessing Whirlwind of Rage because that's very much them.
Oh yeah, but I don't know like what chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like placing well and having best painted. Like this is amazing. These are the people that we need in our hobby. We need Renaissance people, and they lift everyone up. So thank you, Stephen.
Thanks so much, Stephen. Last one for the night. Thank you, Copper185. Wow, this is the first time I'm seeing a live show. Keep the awesome going. After all the previews we've seen so far, what do you think our favorite GSC will get?
Welcome. Obviously, GSC favorite faction. I'm really curious. This was the one faction that I said I was nervous about in 10th edition. I was like, y'all, we're going to be positive. Everything's good. All the psychic stuff's going to be fine. But what are they going to do with GSC?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's really hard to predict because this is an edition that they want you to be able to explain your army rule in
Right.
like less than a minute. And GSC always have been super complicated.
Yeah.
So their crossfire was cool. I'm like thinking it'll probably be like something like way back in the day, like kind of like they arrive from Deep Strike.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be about arriving from reserves.
Right.
And then it'll be like you can either shoot or you can move closer.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, they do their one thing when they arrive.
Yeah,
And then
and-
you can kind of forget about it.
Like you kind of pop up, and that I could see that being an army-wide rule.
That would be cool.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be kind of like it was like
Yeah. It'll definitely be something to do with ambushing. Yeah. You come up, you do a thing. I could see them. I'm curious to see if they. I bet they get rid of the blips.
oh blips. I think is too complicated, and
Yeah.
it was a really cool thing. I really liked the idea of it,
Great
but
concept.
I can't see them like
It's just
doing
too
it.
much.
Trying to explain that to someone that's new to the game, and they're trying to make this more approachable.
Right. I will say, I feel better about them now that we've seen some more things.
Yeah.
We've seen that they're not afraid to, as we mentioned earlier, take abilities from stratagems, detachments,
Yeah.
whatever, and move them into units. So I think the characters are going to be very, very important.
Oh.
You know, I think they will like trigger key abilities in certain things.
Yeah.
And so I feel better about like not losing all the rules.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them might just get dispersed among the units. So I feel more positive and less concerned than I did the last time we spoke about GSC for 10th edition.
You know what that's probably going to be, which is like not exciting?
Yeah.
It's probably going to pop up and get lethal hits. I could see that. It could be like the turn you come from reserves, you get lethal hits.
Lethal hits. Exploding hits would be cool, but lethal
Yeah.
hits? Oh, but then all the auto guns would be pretty good with lethal hits.
Yeah. And the melee, like,
I
could see
jinxed it too.
they've been following that thing is like in armies, like you either get a way of choosing lethal hits or sustained hits. Like most people get either a choice or one of the other. And I could see them just going that route. It's not as exciting as they are now, but they are they're a tough army to play.
They are.
I remember like that was kind of like why you moved off of the.
I couldn't do it. I was
Was
like,
just like it's too much to play in a 6-round tournament.
too overwhelming. Yes, so I'm excited for them to be made more manageable because I would love to play the army.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is too much. So fingers crossed. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We had a couple more come in. Thank you,
Very good.
Caldorf. Brian, which army are you most excited for? Grey Knights or Death Guard? Adrian, do you like the unit joining Gaz? Crack on.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Are you Brian?
Shane is Brian.
Okay.
I'm like Bizarro Brian, but like not like I'm like the like Star Trek wearing like just a goatee on top of like my beard one.
Yeah.
I'm like Bizarro from
Right.
Superman, where it's kind of like the really messed up guy. What I'm excited for is Space Marine Jesse is our resident Grey Knight guy.
Yeah.
He like was a hero back in the day because he was playing them before they got like the reworks to
Yeah.
Grandmaster like things. So he's retooling his army. That's the army he's working on instead of his sisters for 10th. He's
Ooh.
making them nicer. He's primarisizing some of them. He's cleaning them up.
That's cool.
So I'm not doing that because I hate playing the same army as my friends play. I hate that.
horrible.
I will never do that.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult when your friend is Adrian.
When he exactly has everything, and I'm like, Adrian, I have one sacred thing. Stay away from Black Templar.
He's so stubborn. It's better now that you gave me all your orcs.
Yeah.
Now we can negotiate.
Yeah, that was tense for a while. You stopped talking to me for a bit when I tried to become the new orc player.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Death Guard though. You like
Death
Stinky
Guard,
Boys?
I'm excited about because the stuff that was previewed was not that exciting. But there's so much more to like Death Guard, and they have a lot of characters that can
juicy.
like do that. I love my Mortarion. I want Mortarion to be run great, and a lot of their stuff looked good. Like
Yeah.
there was stuff about it that was good. There are problems with it, so Death Guard can be one of those armies that's going to be very hit or miss. And so I'm more excited about them than say like, I don't know, Orks.
Good.
Yeah. But they're not the army I'm starting 10th edition. I'm probably going Marines because I have my massive purple Marine collection. And the army I'm painting up right now is World Eaters. Because I like to go with fads.
Right.
Yeah. The army will be on eBay soon.
Yeah, I'll let everyone know in chat. I like Gaz joining unit. Am I sad that he is lower toughness? Yes. But I really like the idea of like the bully boys or something.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Guy's got love for the homies.
Guys got love for the homies. That's what's up.
Thanks so much, Caldor. Thanks so much, Neil Adams.
Yeah.
Hey.
Are you disappointed about the lack of Quins or Ynnari in the previews? Do you think they'll be playable as standalone armies with their own bespoke detachment army rules?
So that's the thing. I'm like, we can read the silence two ways. Either it's like nothing, they're like not doing anything special or interesting, or they're doing extra and going farther. I think actually they haven't said what is the next army to be previewed. I think it still
Grey
says.
Knights.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it's Grey Knights
Man.
tomorrow.
Well, so there goes that.
Sorry.
theory.
Yeah.
So sad we haven't seen them yet, but I'm trying not to jump to conclusions, right? Like
Yeah.
it could be good news, could be bad news, it could just be news.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm very curious. I'm like bursting at the seams to find out.
I could see Ynnari going in a detachment where you get special rules
Yeah.
specifically for running that. Kind of is how they are.
Yeah.
But also the problem is like a lot of people kind of forget is Ynnari can actually include Dark Eldar, and we don't know.
I feel like it feels like a very non-10th edition concept, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how they handle it.
I think it's going to be something that's like we have to wait till the codexes. It's not going to be in the index. So the
I see what you're saying.
the Yakarn's going to be in there. It'll be around, but like the concept of Ynnari represented on the tabletop, I don't think it's going to be as what we've seen before. And I don't know. Like, did they say what's going on with Quins?
No, they haven't mentioned anything about them. So
That's weird. Like, because it was kind of weird that they were their own codex, and then they were like in the book for 9th edition.
it's pretty. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the implications because you're only getting one detachment.
Yeah. So
Well, we'll see. I'm not nervous. It's fine.
yeah,
It's fine.
maybe they just get rid of like them being their own unique thing, and there's like Harlequins is an elite choice for Eldari.
You take that back.
Which is
You take that back. That's what it
as
used to
like
be.
a non-elf player, I'm like, I don't know the difference, and then I feel like I offend like the 26 people that do care in the world.
Hurtful.
Yeah.
Extremely offensive.
Which is one of them's Adrian because he's a clown.
Wow. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing Shane for the last time on stream.
You can't quit me.
Thanks, Neil.
Potentially last one for the night. Thank you, Stephen. Again, to
Hey.
answer your question, Raven Guard Successors is hungry for battle and
Right.
Whirlwind of Rage.
The Jesse special.
I
Yeah.
love it. And it's Raven Guard, so you get that redeploy.
Also,
get stuck in.
Isn't there like also kind of like a lore reason, like that they might be an offshoot of Raven Guard?
Torquedons?
Yeah. That's who they say. I believe the lore is, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. I don't mean to offend you because I respect Caradon players, if I can't pronounce it. Is they say they're like,
It's not just me.
yeah, that they're like descended from the
Raven Guard?
Raven Guard, and they're like
Oh.
one of the kind of the mutant off breeds.
Oh,
from
so they're like ravens that turned into space sharks.
Yeah, because sharks and ravens are kind of related.
Yeah.
But like
same.
also people are like, we think your gene seed might be world eaters. Like there's kind of
that
evidence
rings a
that they
bell.
might be they might have dipped their toe into like the not so good stuff.
No, I'm not gonna get to that.
What?
How that would yeah.
Because no one knows. They just showed out of like deep space one day and they're like, we're here to help.
We're the space sharks.
We're street sharks.
And we're like, that's weird.
Speaking of Vin Diesel, your idol, that's actually one of his first jobs was he was doing commercials for Street Shark puppets.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
Remember the show Street Sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing
Like they made puppets for it, and for a toy fair, he did a commercial where he's like, "Yeah, Street Shark."
Was he the puppet person?
He was the puppeteer, yeah,
Really?
yeah,
He's a puppeteer?
yeah. I guess.
A lot more respect for the guy now.
Right? I was like, now Adrian is a fan of Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know. He was a...
Well, you dress up like him, so
I don't want to dress up like
you
him.
just dress him like I'm Groot.
Oh my god.
Remember we were dropping out the piano and you didn't expect us because it was a surprise. You came out in a wife beater and we're like
Just
wearing
like,
a bald cap.
I'm Vin Diesel.
Yeah, like D&D.
Oh god. What do I do with you? Thanks,
It's
Steven.
okay.
Thanks, Steven.
Thank you, Steven. Thank you for telling me.
That's it.
Well, this was a good talk.
This was fun. I hope I'm allowed back someday.
We'll see. We'll see. 11th edition will be great to welcome Shane back. It's been a lovely, lovely evening again. Shane, thank you so much for hanging out.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Thank you, chat. And thank you, Mel, for producing.
I was like, no thanks to me? What?
Well,
you.
during the live games, I'm trying to have a faster wrap up. But today we can thank everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to be at BAO. Please come say hi. If we're opponents, yeah, it would be great.
That'd be cool. love
I
it.
hope I'm nice in person and my mean exterior doesn't transfer to the tabletop.
Yeah. If you want to come say hi, especially after day 1, we'll be kind of hanging around the hall. So come say hi.
Yep.
That's going to do it for us. We'll catch you all next time on the tabletop. Bye.
Bye.